Welcome, lovely people. Today, I think I should probably start by apologizing for my voice. I can't do much about it. I'm a little bit stuck with it, so if it's grating or uncomfortable to listen to, I perfectly understand. But today I am going to talk about something that people have asked me about, um, mostly in the comments section of Multiverse's lives that I've either been on the live with him or in the comment section for, and I've directed them to my channel on this topic, but the video that I have there is quite old, so I thought I would go through this again for the people who are curious about playing on PlayStation on both the US and the EU server. So hopefully this little bit of visual will help. Basically, this was my original account here that I'm on. So Laura, that girl from AU, that is me. And this is my Australian account. So I have an account with PlayStation with my location being Australia because that is where I am. It's the original account that I had. Here you can see I've got a DC Universe in this, which is superhero games for US server. And then over here you can see I've got online games for AU, which technically this is an EU server, but it's because the account that I'm using for this is Australia, so AU for me. You can see that I've got two different games. So this is DC Online here. This one is also DC Online here. The way that I was able to do this is I started out with an account that's Australian, of course, and then I downloaded DC Online, which is this game here.
No, it's not. That one just so happens to be the US server. You were talking about this one, which is the EU server.
And I had access to the EU server from the get-go. Later, I wanted to be able to play on the US server. So let's log out of here. What I did in order for that to work was I created an American account. So this one here.
I just wanted to let you guys know that on my previous video, I mistakenly said that the account I created to download the US server version of DCUO was the free-to-play account. That is not correct. The account that I made is the one that I'm talking about now. I mistakenly did that, and I realized only just recently that I did so when I rechecked that video, as I'd recommended it to other people who were looking to do the same thing. It is a small point. It doesn't make a difference in how you would do things, but I just wanted to correct that for accuracy purposes.
So I created this account specifically as a US account so that I was able to access things that would only be available to players who are in the US. I created this account by, you don't have to do it exactly this way. As far as I know, you can create a PlayStation account online and then access it through your PlayStation, and it will recognize the area that you have put into that one that you've created online.
I think also if you have access to another console that is set to US already, that might make it a little easier. You can create the account on that other console because I have brothers who also play, and I could potentially access their PlayStations if I needed to. But just in case that's easier for some people than changing their settings on their own device, you could do that. Set up your account elsewhere on a different PlayStation and then log into it on your own device.
That is something I know from other people telling me, not because that's what I actually did. What I actually did is...
Okay, this is going to be explained extremely long-windedly, so I'm going to take over. Basically, you go into the settings on your PlayStation and change your console settings over to US. Then you create a US account. Once you have your US account, you go onto the PlayStation Store and you re-download DC. It will be a completely new game, even though it looks exactly the same. And once it is on your console, you can access it through any account that is on your console. Once you have done that, you should be able to adjust your PlayStation settings back to whatever you originally had and still be able to access both of the DC games that have been downloaded. You may not necessarily be able to access both with every account on there because my accounts that are on my PlayStation obviously have that PlayStation set as its home device. So all of those accounts are able to access the US server and the EU server. Now, some other accounts are on my PlayStation, but this PlayStation that is mine is not the home device for those accounts. And so those accounts are only able to access whatever DC they would be able to access through their home account. So if it was created on an Australian account, for example, then the EU server is the only DC game that they are able to access on my console.
Or in the cases of people who are in the US looking to get onto the EU server, you could create an account by changing your console to a different location. I would recommend Australia just because I know that that one will work, and then create a new account. Now, that may sound a little complicated because creating a new account isn't exactly what you want. You want to be able to access two servers from the one account.
But in order to get to that point, you do need to create a separate account in order to give you access to the PlayStation Store on your other account that will allow you to download the DC version that you are now looking to play on the new server. And once I had access to the new PlayStation Store, I was able to search for DCUO.
And then I downloaded this version of the game. So it will look exactly the same when you go into the marketplace, but you'll notice a massive price difference. So, for example, with these, this price is not the price that we pay in Australia. And when you go to make a purchase through the US account, if you are not in the US, you're probably going to need to buy a gift card for the US or something of the like. And what you will pay is going to be much more, guys. So if you're in Australia and we're looking to spend some funds on like marketplace cash for the game, it's going to cost you more than 20 bucks. So here that is probably more like $35, okay? And then if you're doing it through gift card instead of through some other way that is straight from an account, a gift card to get a US gift card for Australia costs us more anyway. So this could end up quite easily being a $40 purchase for us. You don't need to do that though. Don't do it that way, okay? Don't do that at all. Once you have downloaded your new DC game, you should be able to see both. So here you can see I've got a folder for US games, that is the US version, and Australian games, it's EU server, but my account is Australian, okay? So that's how I keep track, and that would be that one there. So if you are wanting to access this, I will say I have an account. Like, I have characters on both of these on this account, okay? I keep them because I like to do character creation. I feel bad about deleting them, so I tend to keep my accounts with characters in it, and then when I do character creation, I never have to delete any of them because I love them. Yes, I know how I sound.
You know they're not real, right? Anyway, after I had done that,
I went back here, so we go out of here, we log out. So once I had downloaded DC on my other account that was US account, I came back to my Australian account and this was floating around. So I hadn't had this in a folder yet, but this was floating here and this one had already existed. So I knew that the one that already existed that I last accessed was definitely the Australian one. I chucked that, I shouldn't say that, the EU server, and I chucked that into a folder. And then I came across to this one and I started creating characters. So for the sake of showing you what I mean, let's go into here. So this is my Australian account. Now I have a membership with DC on this particular account. Oh dear, it's getting worse. I'm going to talk a little bit softer because it's kind of hurting a little. So if I have purchased a membership on my Australian PlayStation account, that means that my membership is for the EU server. So when I go in on here, I can access everything that I would normally be able to access for the EU server. For people who are legendary, for people who have purchased the membership. So let me show you that. And also the price difference. So for people who are in Australia, or for anyone who is on the EU server, the price list that I'm about to show you and everything with Marketplace is probably going to be quite familiar. For anyone on the US server, it's probably not going to look quite right. Oh, someone right there with me, hello. All my characters are looking kind of like formal elves because I'm ready for a base tour on someone's base and I got excited about it and then I got my character dressed for it and then I liked it so much that all my other characters now look like that. Anyway, it also reminds me of my Elder Scrolls character. But let's head over to the marketplace. So this is what I want to show you. So I have a membership. We can see up here that my prices are for people with a membership. So you can see the markdown on things because I have a membership. You can also see marketplace cash values here are in AUD for me. So the prices here is very different from the prices on what we just saw on the US server. We will go back to that though because we will look in the marketplace. But you can see here that the 2000 marketplace cash for Australia is $29.95, not $19.99. So we can see that I have definitely got different prices going on here. But you can see the discount has been applied for my legendary membership, okay? Then if we go into daily rewards, you can see that I have been able to collect, apparently we're up to the third one. I've been able to collect the top and bottom row for all of those. When you are on the other section, so when I jump across to the other server, I will not be able to collect top and bottom. I can only collect the top row. So we'll talk about that. So essentially, whatever account you had originally and whichever server that gave you access to, that is where your membership is in effect. So my membership works great. It does everything that it should on here, no problem at all whatsoever. But there are some added benefits to playing from the same account on the other server, and I will let you know what those are. So let's go across to that now. We're going to switch out of here. So now that we are out of the EU server, we're going to jump across here and we'll load into the US server. Now keep in mind, I have not switched accounts. I'm still on the same account. I still have a membership and everything, but this is a little finicky, so I will explain how this will work if you are looking to do this yourself as well. I will say this should work either way. If you're on the US server and you want to jump onto the EU server, you should be able to do this by creating an account that is Australian, for example, and then downloading the DC game separate on that particular account, and then being able to access it through other accounts that are originally wherever you are, US, for example. And it definitely works this way because this is the way that I did it, which is EU across to US. So I actually found out by accident because I was just creating another account to play on the US server and didn't realize I could access it through both, and it ended up kind of cool that I can. So now we are on the US server. I'm going to jump into this character. You can see she looks almost the same. I will say I prefer the metal that she's wearing, the chroma, rather than the one that I have on my EU server, because the EU server one I'm wearing at the moment is gold. I also have the bronzy looking one, I think it's copper, but that one's slightly too reddy brown, and the gold is just a little too bright, and I believe the one I have on here is brass, which looks really good, and it's my favorite. So yeah, I'm quite happy with how she looks on here. I'll just double check that it's the brass one, because I've mixed up those before, because they're all very similar. Yeah, she's wearing the brass one. So that one is definitely my favorite I have found. It's a little less bright than the gold. The gold is very yellow, and the copper is very browny red. So if anyone is wondering, that is brass. So I am on the US server. I am on the very same account. I haven't changed. So let's go across to the marketplace. Here you can see I have the discount that they have going for the on sale items, but everything else on here is full price for my character. So anything I want to purchase on here is going to cost me more marketplace items.
She means cash? Marketplace cash.
You can also see that there is no listing here for me to be able to purchase the marketplace cash. I can't get it through here because my account is not the correct account to be able to do so. I am playing on the US server with an account that's technically incompatible. That doesn't mean that we can't use this. You can see up here I have marketplace cash. So the way that I get marketplace cash is normal purchase through my Australian account.
That can be done by going to the PlayStation Store and purchasing it that way, or she can go onto the EU server and purchase it that way.
If you're going to purchase something for your characters through the marketplace and it is something that is redeemable on all characters, do it on your main account. So here I don't have the discount, but if I had purchased it across on the EU server, it would become redeemable up here for my characters on here. So this is why I think this is slightly more beneficial than having two separate accounts, one US, one Australian. It's easier one account, both servers, as long as if they ever merge them, we could keep all of our characters. That's the thing I think that could be a risk to us, is if we create an account like this and then they go to merge it and we're only allowed to keep one set of our characters. That will suck. I've put a lot of money and effort into these characters and I love them all, and I would happily buy enough slots for both of them to fit. You can see here I have redeemed a bunch of things, right? You can see I've redeemed exabyte characters, I've redeemed Vanguard of the Heavens, I've redeemed allies on here as well, weapons. So all of these things I redeemed on this character on the US server, but I didn't purchase them on here. I purchased them through the EU server, and then I just redeemed them on here. So there is an added benefit to playing both servers, in that anything that you purchase on your main server that is redeemable for all your characters is redeemable for all your characters on both servers. That also goes for if you want to replay badge unlock something in here. These are potentially, I can't be 100% sure, but things that I could have unlocked on my EU server, and then now they're here available for me to unlock on the US one as well, because this is all the same account. It's just that we can't purchase marketplace cash through here because technically it's incompatible, and we also don't get the discount on here. I don't know, it's like, weigh your options. Are you better off with the marketplace cash discount and the availability of the... That's the thing, like with the daily rewards, for example. Here, I can collect top and bottom on my EU server, but on US server, I can only collect this top row. So you could potentially collect the top row on the US server and then jump across to EU, collect the bottom row. But I find it easier just to collect it all in one location, and then I unlock whatever I like. So even though I don't get these particular things now on my US server character, I can unlock all these styles with replay badges as I see fit. And I can purchase those replay badges with funds from my EU account and pay my discounted amount to be able to do that on here. I also have access to my universal currency. So all of the Fate tokens and all of the Destiny tokens are available across both of my servers, and I can choose where I want to spend it. So I find this to be quite beneficial. I like that whatever I do on either server can impact me on the other server also. Particularly, I find it really good because I don't know how many people are aware, but I have recently been opening a whole bunch of capsules because I was attempting to get all of the tendrils to be able to show you guys, and I didn't quite get all of them, but that meant that I was opening a lot of Resurgence mega capsules at the time, which means I had a lot of other capsules that came with those, and so I have a stockpile of them on the EU server. But having a stockpile of them on the EU server also means that over here, if I wanted to unlock things, I can. For example, here, I have not unlocked these on this server, but I can unlock the Neo Techromancer time capsule now, and I get the reward for that, which I believe 15 I will get a doll for the hip of my character. I have also obviously collected all of the Cybernetic Sorceress style on the EU server, because this is something I will have collected on this character if I was doing it, because on this character, when I open capsules, I show you guys. So I use my main character so I can show you guys, and then I unlock it with other characters if necessary. If I haven't got it unlocked here, that means I did it on my main character on the EU server. So I may actually have some of the... I do have some, there we go. I have a back piece missing and a leg piece missing. So I can go across to here, find the back and leg piece and get my feet, even though technically I never opened those capsules here. So here you can see cybernetics. I'm so sorry, guys. Here you can see the cybernetic sorceress back piece. I can unlock that here. And then also, was it feet or legs? I'm not sure. We'll find out in a second anyway. Cybernetic sorcerer, it must be legs. There you can see we've got cybernetic sorceress legs as well. This should give us the feet. We get the feet as well. So it works just as if it was another character on the same account, which it absolutely is. It's just that this character can't interact with my other characters, and there's a little bit of stipulations of things that won't work on here that have worked on the one where I have the account. So I think it's kind of cool. I do think it's worth it, provided that if they ever merge these servers, that I can access all of my characters. Because I am taking a risk. I don't know what will happen if they do choose to merge EU and US. I'm just hoping that all my characters can be kept as long as I have the slots. So, because I have put effort and money into all of them, and I love all of them, and it's so that I can play with all of you guys everywhere. So I love that. This would be the doll that we received, so let's grab that. Normally I would read out that text, but not today, guys. So there we go, Cersei doll accessory. So you can see there's a really good benefit. I mean, it also helps in that I have not done it on the PlayStation yet, but if you did get your artifacts full, you would be able to purchase a wolf pack token on that artifact, and then immediately on the other server be able to access that. So if you're someone who's looking to go from, for example, what I have done, from EU to the US server, and you want to increase your artifacts like this, if you're the kind of person who would put money into a Wolfpack token, then that is going to be accessible by your characters across both servers.
I will just say that is currently untested by us.
Anything that you do is accessible for both servers, with the exception of one-off purchases. For example, like if you're going to, like any base item that I've purchased, if I've purchased an entire base bundle, both of my servers have access to all of that. But for things like the armories, so I have to grab armories for individual characters. I don't get a, hey, every character has access to this. It's, hey, here you go, you can swap it between your characters if you like. So obviously, because they're on a different server, if I purchase it on EU, I can't pass it here. If I purchase it on US, I can't pass it to EU. So if you want armories extra on here, you have to pay the full amount of marketplace cash, but that marketplace cash has to be purchased through your other account.
Also, as a member, you do receive 500 Daybreak cash every month. And that is something that I recommend you use first when you're on the server that's not your main. So mine is obviously EU server is my main, and I get the discount for my marketplace cash in there. But for the Daybreak cash, you don't get a discount no matter which server you're on. So use that first on the server where you don't get the discount, because then it's like saving you a little bit.
Because I can't do it here. See, it's not available. I will say it's probably available in that if you go to because I am on PS4, so I don't have the issue on here of not being able to access marketplace purchases through the game. I know that on PS5 that is an issue, and you need to access your purchases through the PlayStation Store. But on here, because my account technically is Australian, which means EU server, I can't purchase through the game any of the marketplace cash. But if you did go across to the PlayStation Store, most likely you would be able to purchase it there and have it download onto here just fine, but you would need a means to pay that is compatible, which at the moment for me that would mean purchasing a US gift card, which means that most likely I'd be paying even more that way. I'm much better off going to my own server, paying for it that way, and then coming across here and using the marketplace cash as necessary. So yeah, and hopefully this is helpful. I can't think of anything else that I should point out to you guys. I will go across to here. So look, I got extra stat points too. So this all actually is something I discovered by accident. I was creating a whole nother account, the one that I showed you, to be able to access the US server, and I was going to start from scratch. But then I saw that I was able to access both servers from my main account, and I thought, that's great. Went in, and I can unlock a bunch of stuff. I have access to a bunch of stuff. You know, it's really nice that that means that everything that I've purchased hasn't gone to waste, and I can play with you guys on EU. I can play on US. I can base tour. I can see all your great styles. It's really nice. So let's get out of here. Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to sound this bad. I actually sounded not great yesterday, and I thought I'll wait and see how I go. And it's increased, like it's gotten worse. So I'm not going to put a video out. This is the most fun thing, and I do want to explain this because people have recently asked me, and I think this might be helpful. All right, so if we go over here to the PlayStation Store, I can show you. I mean, I did say before, but let's go DCUO. Okay, so over here you can see these prices are the Australian price that we pay, so quite a bit higher than the US server. So let's log out. Okay, so this account here that I have is my US server account. So if I'm going to go into the game for the US server, I'm pretty sure I should be able to access Marketplace cash just like I should on any other account. But the issue is because I am Australian, my funds and accounts that I have to pay in game for things are Australian, which means it's not compatible with this particular account in general. So because this is an account that is set to US, just for clarification, my other account is Australian with access to the US server. This account is US with access to the US server, which means the marketplace should come up like normal and I should be able to purchase through it. All right, so let's log in. Okay, so now I am on the US server with an account that is the US server. We're going to go to the marketplace, and you can see the marketplace cash is available here for me. And if I wanted to purchase it through here, I can. So we'll go through so I can show you. I'm just going to turn off the sound because I feel like I'm a little too quiet and you guys might not be able to hear me. So over here, it'll take me to the PlayStation Store and try to put me through to be able to pay it. So I don't have a compatible means to pay this because I'm in Australia. But if you want to do that and you are Australian, you need to get yourself a US gift card, and you can put it in here, gift card. So you can add a gift card in and make the purchase. I don't really understand what the benefit would be for someone to specifically create a US account separate and play two separate accounts when it can work this other way. It's more financially beneficial, I think, if you are someone who deals with the marketplace and tends to buy things that will be redeemable on all of your characters. It allows you to unlock it across both servers. So I find that way more beneficial than trying to play two different servers on two different accounts. I have a US server account with Switch because the server merge is something that happened recently. There were previously two separate servers for me, and I wanted to play with my best friend. That was a US server. So I use a website called Off Gamers. I'll put information here if anyone is interested. I have purchased gift cards for Xbox, for Switch on the US server on there, and I've never had any trouble. It's usually quite a bit quicker than they say. They say it could be up to 10 minutes. It's usually within two. I've got the funds there ready to go if I need to. So, yeah, a good site, at least for me so far. It's been a good place to go if I need to get a gift card in order to be able to put my purchases through, because if I'm on the wrong server, my accounts that I have in Australia do not work. But
Please do keep in mind, if you are an Australian and you intend to purchase a US gift card for the PlayStation, on the Off Gamers website, that you're going to be paying a massive increase. So $10 you can see there is 14. It's going to cost you a lot more. I don't recommend doing it this way. I think it's much smarter to play both servers on one account where your account can be paid for the way you would normally pay, rather than going this way. But if you must, off gamers has never been an issue for me. I have personally never had a problem, but keep in mind, other people have. There are some comments saying that when they've had an issue, some people have not been able to get anybody to communicate with them in order to fix it. I just personally have never had any issue. I should say also that I have never personally purchased a PlayStation gift card from Off Gamers. I have purchased Nintendo and Xbox with no issue.
okay, so this is my free to play account. So I specifically have this account to play for free. I don't put money into the game because I like to deal with the issues that exist for people who are playing only free to play. And there are a lot of you. So I like to explore that sort of thing and see where the issues are and make note of them and make sure everyone else is aware. I would just let you guys know one other thing as well. Recently, someone asked me about the chat restrictions that exist for people who play free to play. Sorry, guys. And there are chat restrictions. I can't tell you exactly how many. I didn't count any of the times that it's happened. I just chat like normal and then I realize, oh my goodness, this is free to play. It's about to stop. So actual text chat gives you a limited number and then it says no more. Sorry, you can't text anymore. So that disappears. I recently tested for audio also. I had mixed results. At first other people could hear me and then it stopped. So I don't know if that was a technical issue or if that was you're not allowed to have voice chat as a free to play player. I'm not sure, guys. So I do need to do a bit more testing on that. It's something I intend to test and find out so that everyone can be aware of the issues that exist with free to play, because a lot of people are not aware. But thus far, I can't be conclusive because it could have been a sketchy issue. I haven't tested enough to know. And I didn't have a lot of time either, or I would have just stayed and kept going. But let's jump onto, so this would mean that my main account on here technically is on the EU server, but US is where I tend to play because most of you guys are on the US server. There's a lot more people and a lot more opportunity for me to play those characters through for things because the US server has quite a lot more players than anywhere else. So actually, we'll go on to the Australian server first. I don't need to log into the characters to show you what I'm going to explain. But do you guys remember how we received the CR skip recently? So because with my free-to-play players
Free to play characters.
that I'm using for my videos for this channel, I don't want to CR skip them. I want to play them through and only play them through. But I also don't want to ignore a free CR skip. So at first I was like, should I use it or should I not? And consensus seemed to be, don't put it on. So I didn't. And I put it onto one of my EU characters. So you can see here, both of my characters have quite high CR for characters that I barely play at all. And that is because they both have received the free CR skips that we've been given. So, and they have the exact same names as their counterparts on the other server. I don't play them at all. I log in sometimes and I collect whatever free things we receive. But other than that, no. In fact, I should go in and collect their sparkle trails. I'm actually a little bit careful about logging in on here at all. Sometimes I forget that I'm on the EU server, and so I accidentally collect the daily and then realize, and there's no way for me to unlock that, because if I try to unlock that, I don't have replay badges on here because free to play. So the likelihood of me getting replay badges on here is pretty slim. It would only happen if they gave some kind of a free drop to everybody. So I'm actually really glad I'm collecting the buckets on here because my other characters are quite full of them. And this way they don't get deleted, which is what I would normally do. Just delete them out of my inventory. That's another thing that's kind of a benefit. If there's something that you don't want to delete, but don't know if you'll ever use, collect them here. I mean, worst that can happen is that you never use them. At least they didn't get completely deleted. So you can see that I've been able to utilize both of those free CR skips, but without compromising what I was planning to do with my free-to-play account. So if we jump out of here, close that one down, and we go into the US server, which is where I play, um, you'll be able to see those characters as well, which have the exact same name. But I'm playing them through the content for videos and because I'm curious. I mean, it's interesting playing the game from the perspective of someone with free to play. It really restricts a lot of things. There's no ability to sell anything, even though you can buy. Your funds are restricted to 50,000, which is a little frustrating when I'm looking at the escrow of whatever I have and seeing stuff in the broker and being like, well, I can afford it, but I can't get it because escrow. So yeah, that's a bit fun. Also, mailing is impossible. You can't receive items in the mail. You can receive text in the mail, but not items, and you certainly can't send anything. So, yeah, these are my two characters that I actually do play. You can see the combat rating on this one is 75, 384 on this one. Both of them just played through. Um, and they are free to play. So, I will say if you're playing free to play and you want to be able to create extra characters, you certainly can. But the most of the benefits from playing two servers on one account come from the fact that you're able to redeem things across both. And when you're playing free to play, that's not the case. You don't have replay badges available. You're not cruising through the marketplace to purchase items that you can redeem on multiple characters because you're not putting funds in. So the only benefit that I really see of playing on both servers but on the one account that is free to play is that it gives you the option of having more than just the two characters. So you can have four for free. You can play on both servers, which is fun. It's different people that you're playing with each time, so that's good fun, and I quite like that. But you can't access things across both. I mean, you will still have the benefit of only having to log in onto one server, and you will receive your Fate and Destiny tokens, and they are available across both servers, as are your quarks and things like that. So it does give you the opportunity to play through the content more times with your characters, especially if you're free to play where you're not able to reset any of the missions on the same day. You can play through 4 characters instead of 2, which can be beneficial. It also does open you up for the ability to store items. So it's a little tricky on that though, because here we've got granted, I guess that's Sparkle Trail, yeah. So for example, you can see here the trick or treat buckets that you can receive. Now I know that it is an uncommon thing for us to have this, it's only something that happens throughout Halloween, but because of how much I play, or how little I play this specifically, I keep having to delete. You can see here, I've got like a list of buckets that I've had to delete because there's just no space for them here. It's a waste for me to keep them in here. I'm not opening them up and I can't play through content if my inventory is 100% full. So I have played my other character on this server to collect them, but at the same time, I have gone across to the Australian one just now and collected those buckets, and that means they're not getting deleted. They exist. I may be able to fill them when I play on that server, so it means that I'm deleting less. That could be said for the daily rewards as well, but keep in mind, daily rewards on here, once you collect this on the server that you're on, you can't pass it to the other server. So for example, here, you can see today, we are going to get some fate tokens. Great, they will be available for my characters on this server and the other server because those tokens are universal to my account. But this metal will only be available to the characters who are on this server, US server, if I collect this. So say we collect, which I can, I have a space. There's my metal. Fate tokens are here, 135. No matter which server I log into, that will be the same for all of them. No matter where I collect, that will be the same for all of them. But the metal is now strictly on the US server. Can't pass it to EU. So just keep those things in mind when you're collecting things like that. Anything that is universal to your account. So that's some of the currency mostly. And then anything that's redeemable at the marketplace for all characters. Those things can be on either server. Oh no. But anything anything that has to go to a character, like the metal here or like the armories, they will be stuck on the server that you access them through. So as a small thing to keep in mind, it's pretty easy once you've gotten the hang of it to become accustomed to that sort of thing and keep it in mind. Just make sure you know which server you're on, because my characters have the same name on both servers, so they do look very different now, which is nice. But they did start out looking very similar, and I did a couple of times accidentally collect a daily rewards on the EU account, and now I can't unlock it on here. So don't do a me. Do as I say, not as I do. Hopefully, that is helpful for everyone who is asking. I will just apologize as well for anyone who is waiting for me to tour their base. I will not be touring anyone's base sounding like this. I don't think it's going to do the base any justice for me to sound like a croaky frog when I'm trying to look at everything. And if I get excited, I'm going to hurt my throat. You know, if I get too excited, my voice goes high pitched and it's not going to feel nice. So we're not going to do that. So, and I do get excited about base tours. So I'm really sorry if anyone has been waiting to see their base. I am getting to them all. I have them all written down. Anyone who has asked me to do so, you are on the list. But just gonna have to wait till I don't sound like this. So I will, as soon as I can record for it, I will do so. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm a little sad that I haven't been doing it. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments. I will try to be as helpful as I possibly can. But yeah, hopefully this was informative, helpful for anyone who is curious. I very much doubt that it was entertaining because I sound shocking.
I wouldn't worry about it. It takes the attention away from your face.
I am so sorry. I think my voice is declining again.
Same.
I'm gonna go rest my voice and have some honey tea,
Same.
as was recommended to me by a lovely viewer. So I will go do that, and hopefully you guys have a good one and sound better than me.
I do just also want to say thank you to everybody who gave me such lovely well wishes. That was so kind of you. And thank you also for having patience with me for getting this video out.
Bye, guys.